our executive chairman. Dr. Wei-wu has an incredible background. He came over here with $50 in his pocket many years ago. He's going to tell you this story. He did his PhD at the Baylor College of Medicine, did some work at Mayo, and then was a fellow at Mass.
Would you like to sit down?
Eventually, shortly thereafter, met Craig Venter and was one of the original scientists of human genome science. So he's been in the business for a long time. He did very well when they went public. Went back and got his MBA in Port School business, and then he started his own venture fund that's invested in over 70 different companies over the last many years. Been very successful. Is the main investor here, and one of the most brilliant scientists and businessmen all combined in one person I've ever met in my life. That's a real hard combination. So with that, Dr. Wei-wu.
Well, it's really, thank you so much for coming to this event. So we actually organize a JP Morgan events every year. And last year, my partner, Dr. Craig Venter, actually was a speaker. But every year we change a topic. This year, our key topic is going to be sleep. Okay. So we know 8 billion people, they all sleep. And they all spend a third of their life sleeping. But we never knew how well is your sleep. But the technology is changing. And it's wonderful to have Dr. Emmanuel. And Dr. Emmanuel, is probably one of the best sleeping doctor and scientists in the world. He was awarded the Breakthrough Prize in 2 years ago, and but there's a pill you can take from his innovation that people has narcolepsy. So if you want to be awake, you just take a Takeda pill, and you will be super awake and smart for 40 minutes. That's my understanding. Okay, so if you want it longer, okay, so if you want a job interview, or you're talking to Zuckerberg, or you're talking to Elon Musk, you probably want to pop that pill. And before you go in there, okay, because you will impress everybody. So, and then we have the CEO of Sleep Score, which is a company we're lucky enough to put some money. We brought that company out of a company called ResMed, if you guys heard about ResMed. So ResMed has spent $100 million 10 years, and right now they collected 600 million hours of sleeping data. So in the future, using AI, we can really help everybody sleep better, because if you sleep better, you will live longer and happier. Okay, so I'm going to say a few things about what human longevity is. It's how many people in this room really believe you will live over 100? Wow, that's great. Okay, that's great. Yeah. So how many people want to live over 100 but healthy? Like, okay, that's good. So, and that's really the thesis of human longevity. So human longevity is we really are using modern precision medicine to help people live longer and healthier. So longevity, believe it or not, is a science. Okay, we human being has wandered on Earth probably for 1 million years. The average life expectancy has always been around 30 years old until 1900. So the technology evolved, but mainly the technology is for preventing infectious disease. Because before we get killed by smallpox, we got killed by pneumonia, we get killed, a simple infection can kill us. But in the last 100-some years, we invented antibiotics, we invented vaccine. So the average life expectancy is increasing. But today with AI, with genomics, with all this, we're really on the next chapter of human longevity innovation. And that's really what human longevity is all about. We human being has potential to live over 100. A dog never has the potential to live over 100. The longest dog lived, Guinness record is 30 years old. So that's like 1 out of billions of dogs. Okay, so, but we human being, there's plenty of people. You look, I'm a golfer, and so there is a Guinness record called Shoot Your Age. The holder right now is this Canadian. He shot 103 when he's 103 years old. Okay. And the Guinness record for the oldest marathon runner is 113 years old. And he didn't even start to run marathon until 89 years old. So you guys have all opportunity to run a marathon, okay? And by the way, he's still alive, okay? And you see people like Charlie Munger, Henry Kissinger, they walked to 100 years old. And as a matter of fact, Charlie Munger walked to 99 and he went to sleep and didn't wake up. That's the ultimate dream of so we don't get Alzheimer's, torture your family for 10 years and, tax the government for 10 years worth of social security and all that. That's the dreamline. But on the opposite of that is people do die young, right? You look at wonderful people like Steve Jobs, Susan of YouTube, the whole Google was started in her garage, but she has to die at 56 of lung cancer, and she trusted old brand. I'm not trying to, badmouth Mayo Clinic, but she always go to Mayo Clinic to do annual physical and all that. But unfortunately, Mayo Clinic doesn't use the bleeding edge technology, genomic, whole body MRI, and all these technology. And she's unlucky. By the time she discovered her lung cancer is like stage 4. And her cancer doesn't respond to all the known drugs that we have today. So there's but you look at people like Bozeman, he's so fit, but we know that he probably has a genetic disease for colon cancer called Lynch syndrome, because his brother Kevin is also diagnosed at colon cancer at age 40. So the issue really is, today, because when my partner Craig Venter and the US government decode the first human genome, it cost $3 billion 24 years ago. Today, you can spend $100 decode your genome. So there's no excuse for people like Bozeman not to sequence their genome. Because the moment that you sequence their genome, we know he has Lynch syndrome. And he needs to do a colonoscopy or Cologuard when he's 35 years old, not 45, which is today's medical guideline. The guideline is not personalized. It's not designed for you. It's designed for the statistics. So that's really the precision medicine we're going into. So, the fastest growing population on Earth today is centenarian. Okay, do you know that? So it's actually in the 60s, there's only 20,000 people live over 100 years old. Today it's an exponential curve. So pretty soon we'll have 20 million people, over the age of 100 living. Okay, so actually the longest living zip code in the United States is Marin County, California. Yeah, and if you actually the Asian lady were like, if you're Asian living in Marin County, you're actually no. If you're an Asian lady living in Marin County, your average life expectancy is already 90 years old. Okay, but even this is what tells you that the people who has access to modern medicine versus the people who don't have access to medicine. In the three streets apart in Marin County, there's a very poor neighborhood. The average life expectancy is 65. And in the same zip code, okay? So it just tells you modern medicine is so important for your longevity and health, right? So it's the reason we're living longer is because all these innovation going on. And we have so much innovation. As a life scientist, every day I got so excited, So, Emmanuel may have a vaccine for Alzheimer's pretty soon. But then Xi Jinping say that he has one too. He was trained under Mark Davis. So you guys need to talk, okay? So it's all from the protein from the brain. So I think in the future there will be vaccines for Alzheimer's disease. A little bit history of the company. So Dr. Craig Venter is a visionary scientist. By the way, he has a genetic mutation. He talks about it all day long. It's called aphantasia. Have you guys heard about it? So aphantasia is the opposite of photographic memory. So yeah, so basically he has, if I see Larry right now, if I close my eye, if I'm aphantasia, I have no recollection of your face. Yeah, so it's a genetic trait. But the people with aphantasia, they can envision future conceptually. So he's a guy, decoded the human genome, made the first synthetic microbiome. He made the first pig transplant, heart transplant to Baltimore. That's actually Craig Venter's 15-year project to make the pig organ. He's right now making a totally synthetic microbiome just from chemical synthesis. So we'll see if that, But he's had the vision to start human longevity because he basically believed with all these new technology, if we combine them together, we should easily add 20 years to everybody's health span. Okay, that's the technology, the promise of the technology. So we already raised over $600 million. Bristol Myers Squibb gave us $150 million. GE gave us money. Illumina gave us some money. But we burned a lot of money. So Craig is a wonderful scientist. I think he deserves a Nobel Prize. But every time he raised $500 million, he thinks he got another NIH grant, okay? so this is why I'm helping him out because, I came to this country with $50. So I'm very frugal, so we already serve 10,000 clients. So oldest clinic is in San Diego. It's more than 10 years old. And we are doing collecting a lot of longitudinal data because we believe that this is the future of using AI. So about a month ago, Craig, introduced his good friend to come to our clinic. So I woke up at 8, to come in 8 o'clock in the morning. The guy actually canceled the appointment because the day before he got the Nobel Prize for AI. So it's the best cancellation excuse I have ever heard. Is I'm not coming because I got the Nobel Prize. That's Hinton. I immediately emailed him back and said, because you got the Nobel Prize, you got it for free. But I have to be able to mention your name. Is that okay? He says, absolutely mention my name. Okay, so I can talk about it because otherwise it's not HIPAA compliant. Okay. So he already agreed that I can mention his name. Okay, so we have the godfather of genome. We have the godfather of AI. I think in the future, the revolution of medicine is going to be high quality data, AI, so for 8 billion people. So we have been around for 12 years, and in the back, we don't think we can replace the traditional sick care hospital like Mass General, Mayo Clinic, and all that, because we detect a lot of early stage cancer. They still have to be operated on, so we don't operate it on. So for instance, we detected 3 early stage pancreatic cancer. So we send them to Mass General, operated by my friend, Keith Lillimore, who is the chief of surgery at Mass General. And Keith always tell me, how did you guys discover such early pancreatic cancer? The question is, we use a lot of new technologies. And one of them is doing a YouTube video. In the YouTube video, he will basically tell that HRI saved his life. And because he got the same pancreatic cancer Steve Jobs had. And he's already alive for 4 years. There's no sign of pancreatic cancer whatsoever. So the key is, so our science, I'm not going to talk too much about it. We were ranked by Nature as a top, 30 publisher in industry. So this is, I think, a landmark paper we published in PNS by Dr. Tom Kasky, who discovered about 40 different important, genetic diseases. So the point is that our company is a science-driven company. So everything we do eventually is going to take to the FDA and get approval. And, so this is a very high bar. So one of my former board member, Brian Johnson, went out, selling snake oils. So he actually sells olive oil. It's branded as snake oil. Do you know that? Yeah. So, and so he was a board member of us, but he's on different paths. We are a very science data-driven company because we think, I always tell people that if my grandson or granddaughter says, your grandfather didn't, sell snake oils, it has to withstand the test of time, right? So I'm not going to talk about this paper. The punchline is, when we have 1,200 people come into our clinic, they all think they're healthy. We don't take anybody who's not healthy. But it turned out to be that if you use today's modern technology, you find out 14% of them already have serious disease that if they don't take action, they will die. They have early stage cancer. 2% has early stage cancer. 6% has arrhythmia, and all that. And 40% has risk for age-related chronic diseases, diabetes, hypertension, sleep disorder, overstress, and all that, which will impact your life expectancy. This is we have physicians, we have the best concierge doctor here, and our goal really is very simple. Right now in developed nation, we live to about 80 years old average, but we probably a third of life is pretty good shape. Like my 18-year-old son, it's lots of steroids and but eventually we go into a transition stage, which you're okay, but you're not quite healthy. You don't sleep as well. The man has to wake up in the evening to go to urinate often, because your prostate has grown, and it's called transition stage. Eventually, you get into a sixth stage. Let's say somebody get diabetes, Alzheimer's disease. They don't remember. So apparently my friend knows Nancy Reagan, and apparently the last year of Reagan in the White House, he couldn't even recognize White House. So, and this is the most powerful leader in the free world and can push buttons. Okay, so, and he can't even recognize White House. But that's a sick stage. So dream scenario is we human being has genetic potential to live to probably 120. And you want majority of your time to be in health, and then shrink the transitional time as short as humanly possible. Then eventually, like Charlie Munger, you work to 99, you go to sleep, you drop dead, you don't bother Social Security, you don't bother your kids, you don't bother nursing homes. And that's the future that we are working on. And right now in the world, about 4 people live over the age of 100. Average. US, Japan is higher. But based on our data of 10,000 people, majority of people are genetically programmed to live over 100. We very rare find a gene that says you can't live to 100. Like, sickle cell anemia, or cystic fibrosis. These are genes that will affect your life expectancy. But 99% of people genetically, hi Ali, this is the most famous geneticist from Harvard. And so I'm just talking about genetics, so I should shut up. Okay, so Ali just sequenced the 750,000 genome in Abu Dhabi. So so that's the, and so so I'm saying that most people in our cohort of 10 years, more than 10,000 people, our finding is majority of people should live over 100. Basically, you are endowed to live over 100, but but we get killed by diseases. All right. So you ask us what human longevity does. Okay. So I actually simply put 4 pillars of what we really are putting effort into. The first pillar, I call it, don't die of stupid diseases. Okay, 200 years ago, smallpox is stupid diseases. Today, the #1 killer for Americans are cardiovascular disease. So if you want to live over 100, you better protect your blood vessel over 100. Okay, so you want to know how? Talk to my doctor. Okay, so we use data and all that. And the second biggest killer is cancer. Actually, the 2023 data shows the #3 deaths in the United States is accidental fall, unintentional accident. So because the people are living longer and longer, so their body is becoming more frail. So if you want to live over 100, exercise, build some muscle, make sure your bone density is okay. So that's #3. The #4 is already dementia. So because the whole world is aging. So the next multi-billion-dollar drug is going to be a lot to do with dementia, because the whole, if we don't do anything right now, when I talk to, Michelle Williams, the president of Harvard School of Public Health, she said she predicted there will be 1 billion people with dementia, but they are alive if we don't do anything. It will bankrupt our economy because you have to pay Social Security, you have to nursing home, you have to have kids taking care of the parents, but they are not productive. They don't remember anybody. Okay, so if you have 1 billion people on Earth has dementia, that's real the social burdens. This is why what we are doing right now, it actually has long-term macro impact to human society. The second pillar is really important, is like what I call lifestyle. And today is the main topic is one of the most important pillar is sleep. So in this is exercise, sleep, and nutrition. So for instance, we're working with Technogym. Do you guys know Technogym? Yeah. So eventually we're going to develop a home-based gym for you, just for you. So because not everybody likes running, not everybody likes rolling, but based on your genetics, all your data, we'll say, here's your machine. You better do 30 minutes a day on this, and you will live extra 20 years, okay? And you'll have strong muscle, bones, and all that. So we're working on exercise, but today we have the sleep guru here to share with you how important sleep is. And nutrition obviously is important. We have Coca-Cola here. So, and yeah, the Coca-Cola here. And actually, am I supposed to say that? I probably can say the former CEO of Nestle is my client. Okay, so he just got fired. Okay, but he's a great guy. He's talking about Nestle needs to do So actually, one of the reasons people think all these food company CEO is being replaced is because they only sell sugars, and the GLP-1 is killing them. Because when people are on Ozempic, they have no appetite for sugar. And so when a whole nation is on GLP-1, you will see anybody sells sugar will go down. Okay, so it's, so you better come up with nutritional, tasty, drinks and food, personalized beverage, right? And the third pillar is mental health and spiritual health. We're working with people like, Deepak Chopra and all that. It's so important because we're living in a society is bombarded by fake news, negative news, and it's really important. By the way, you guys are invited. We have a trip to go to South Pole in November with Deepak Chopra. There's only 100 people. You are all invited. Let me know. We have a huge discount going. So you get to spend. How much weight? Where's Wei-wu? I think it's like $10,000. It's not that bad. Yeah, you spend 10 days with Deepak Chopra and and with human longevity. Where's Wei-wu? I think we get a pretty deep discount. Yeah. So, and you will spend time personally with Deepak. We have special sanction. Yeah. We will get you signed up. Actually, we're already working with Harvard, Dr. Weldinger, he's doing the trial at Harvard, which basically is since 1937, they track a group of people from Harvard for how many years now? It's 80 years now. And they want to find the number one factor for longevity and health. It turned out to be the number one correlation is high quality social interaction. It's actually more important than not smoking in terms of longevity. So this is because we're human beings. We can't live just with an iPhone. Okay, we need people. Thank you so much for coming. You made me so much happier. Okay. Yeah, and I will be quick. So what we're doing is I will just talk of one disease, we think we can already reduce your lifetime risk of dying from cancer by 90%. Okay, so right now, if we don't change technology, your lifetime chance of dying of cancer is 20%, lifetime. So it's like if I tell you fly United Airlines for your whole life, you have 20% chance of blow up. Okay, so this is our risk, but your cardiovascular risk is even higher. Okay, but how do we decrease your lifetime chance of dying of cancer from 20% to less than 2%? That's actually what we already have a solution. The key solution for cancer is always early detection. We human beings didn't have a perfect genome for cancer. So we get cancers. When the divine force made a human being, we programmed the cancer in our genome. But elephants don't get cancer. So if you use cancer as an endpoint, elephant genome is so much better than ours. So is the bald-headed shark. They don't get cancer. And there's also a rat called naked mole rat, don't get cancer. But we human beings get cancer. And we have a lifetime chance of 20% of dying of cancer. But if you look at breast cancer, if you detect at stage 1, your 5-year survival chance is 99%. But if you discover your cancer at stage 4, 70% of people wouldn't live over 5 years. But some cancer going from stage 1 to stage 4 only takes a few months. So if you miss that window, it's a life and death. So my whole life is working on cancer detection. My PhD is, working on PSA as a test for prostate. But PSA is a lousy test. So if I told an 80-year-old man, living in the US, I say, you have prostate cancer, I'm already 10% right. Without any test. If you're male, you're 80 years old, you're living in the USA, the positive predictive value is already 10%. Okay, so right now in our clinic, our positive predictive value is already over 90%. Why? You say why? So the only way you can increase positive predictive value is I actually learned from Emmanuel over the weekend, is you have to use multi-module test. So anytime you add 10 different tests, you reduce the false negative, right? Or false positive. False positive. Okay, sorry, I'm learning from the Stanford professor. So you can significantly reduce your false positive, right? So so we basically believe you need to do genetics, and you need to do imaging, and you have to do like a liquid biopsy. And most importantly, you need to do longitudinal care. You cannot, just like, we invest in company, you never invest in company looking at 1 quarter financial statement. You want to look at, Warren Buffett probably looks for 10 years, quarterly financial statement before he writes a check for $1 billion. Your health is the same. Your body changes all day long. If today you got a COVID infection, tomorrow your body is different. You may have autoimmune disease because of COVID infection. So you need longitudinal care. This is why we build this clinic, spend $600 million building this clinic to take care of you. We're the phenotype. We are actually the first Tesla roaster, right? So eventually, my dream is before I die, we'll have 100,000 such clinics around the globe. Because we believe that the future of clinic is not Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, everybody fly in. These preventative clinics should be in your neighborhood, like Starbucks coffee, because they collect data. And none of our patients will be emergency patients because we're trying to cure your breast cancer 5 years from now. So it's not urgent, but you need to know, right? So that's the medicine we are practicing. So I'm not going to talk too much before we go into sleep. We are eventually develop this algorithm that all 8 billion people can use. Okay, that's really what, and I think in the future will be dirt cheap. It's high quality data. The window into your house is probably in the long run for the masses is a tube of blood plus some wearable and longitudinal data. And then you can calculate what is the biggest, it's like a fortune teller. I can tell, Angelina Jolie, when she's born, she has 85% chance of dying of breast cancer when she's reached 60 years old because it's in her genome. That information is already there. When she's born, she has 60 years to deal with it. So how do you deal with it? That's the future of medicine, and that's going to be an algorithm. And we do work with, I don't think we can get rid of sick care, but I think the medicine needs to be, a different medicine. And I think everybody, Peter Thiel, how many people know Peter Thiel? Yeah, so he always said, if you want to live over 100, you have to set a goal. It's called, he called it centenarian decathlon. So you have to envision when you're 100 years old, what you are capable of doing. So for instance, your dream is to hold your granddaughter or do whatever. My dream is, shoot 100 when I'm 100 years old. So, okay. So, and with that said,